Hello and welcome to episode 35 of Take Your Points. I'm your host Ronan Scott. Last week we spoke to three county champions, Daly Jones from Dungannon, Kevin O'Boyle from Cargan and Shane Carey from Scotstown, and they told us what it was like to win their county titles. So we've decided to maintain that theme and we've brought I've asked three more guys to come on and talk about their wins. This week we are speaking to Paul Shiels from Dunloy, one of the senior players in that team, and he was captain this year and he talks about their success. Niall from Maghery, he's a chairman and a player, and I want to know how he felt about winning this year. And we also have Ederney's Paul McCusker. They had a great victory over Gaelic, a Gaelic team who were going for 6 in a row, but Ederney stopped them. So we've got them on this week, so we're talking about winners, and so let's get it started. A number of weeks ago, Maghery beat Crossbaglen in the Armagh Championship. Maghery had won it the few years previously, so this year's win validated their success. So I have asked Niall, who's one of the players and he's the chairman as well of the club, to come on and talk about the victory. Now, it's been a few weeks now since you've won. Has the achievement sunk in?
I'm not really sure achievements like that actually do sink in until you retire from football, to be honest. It's been a few weeks now, as you say, and directly after the final and a few days after, you're just sort of caught up in it all, so you don't really think about it. But still the league to focus on, so we didn't really let ourselves relax on that. We needed points in the league. Since then, Armagh suspended all activity, so I think now we can maybe a time that we can sit back over the winter and start to think about it. But as I say, as a player, you're probably always thinking of the next thing, so you don't tend to think about it and let it sink in. So as I say, maybe in retirement, which might be too far away, you might sort of let that achievement sink in along with the other championships and leagues that we've won.
You're the chairperson as well as a player. What's that like?
I suppose it'd be lying if I said it was easy. Definitely was a few difficulties with it. Did enjoy it, but you tend to be going to training, going to games, and maybe your mind's on other things instead of just focusing on the football. So if you're going to training, you're thinking about facilities and pitches and one thing or another. Going into those big games, particularly the final, you're thinking about the club, the community, fundraising maybe. So you're thinking about things other than football, which probably isn't a good thing as a player. I suppose on the flip side of that, it does take your mind off the maybe nerves and things going into the final as a player. So a lot of times you're just going out and playing football, enjoying it and not thinking too much on it. But as I say, into the final, you got a different sort of perspective on things. You're getting both from the playing side and from the committee side. So you were thinking about both things, and obviously enjoyed it as a player, but to be chairperson when the club has won the championship, and even with the committee putting in the organisation and things and time over the weeks leading up to the final, there was a sort of extra special as well, and felt like a real particular achievement. But definitely it's been a difficult enough year for any committee, any GA committee, with the COVID and lockdown and everything that's going on. So it felt like a real achievement getting over the line on both fronts, player and chairperson. I'm
wondering, was there something important this year that happened that led to the victory?
I don't think there's anything in particular you can pinpoint. I think any championship success is probably about consistency over a period of years. So this group's been together now 5-6 more years, working towards that goal. So to say it's really something that happened this season, that I don't think you could pinpoint that. I suppose again, strange year that it's been. We're a small rural community. I know a lot of the senior players were helping out with during lockdown, delivering meals and that sort of thing. I think that sort of galvanised the group a wee bit. Made us feel like part of the community, and maybe that spurred us on a wee bit. So that's maybe something. We trained hard, and even during lockdown, Finian was sending us sort of exercises and runs and different things to do remotely. So I think all that added to it. On the football front, I mean, you just go back to quarter final against Clonerne, Monday night, raining, tough game, both sides playing pretty defensively, no real free flowing football. Went to extra time and going into the last 5 minutes, we were getting beat by 2 points and we managed to claw that back and get a win. So looking back over the games, maybe that was a bit of a turning point. We realised then we probably need to up the ante a wee bit, and that performance wouldn't cut it against Pearse Oaks in the semi-final, or wouldn't let us go any further. So we took a bit of a look at things then. So if anything, maybe that was a wee bit of a turning point in the season.
You were up against Crossmaglen in the final. Was there a key to the victory, key to the win?
I suppose the obvious answer to that one is goals win games, I suppose. 4-goal return against Crossmaglen was a big thing, and ultimately that probably seen us over the line. Got an early goal, Caelan hauled off a couple of great saves, so things were looking good, but then Cross came back as they do, kicked a number of points. The game actually started to get away from us, I think, but Brand popped up with a goal and then 2 again in the second half, so goals did get us over the line, but probably belief as well. We're getting Cross now for a few times, and unfortunately Cross probably hit the better of us on a good few occasions, but I don't think there's any doubts in our mind going into the game that we could do it. I felt going into the game, just the atmosphere about was just, there's no real doubts, there's just sheer belief, which is a big thing. So again, that probably had a big hand in helping us get over the line in the final as well. And there's no real panic when Crossmaglen came back into the game, which again is down to sort of a bit of experience that's built up over the years in big games.
How important is it for the club to have won this?
I think winning a club championship for any club, particularly sort of small rural clubs, small sort of membership base, is always massive. So it's a huge thing for us. We won our first county title in 2016, the first one ever after 110 years of trying. So definitely any club championship for us is definitely a massive thing. Probably should have another in 2017, but I think to come back after 4 years and clinch it again, big thing for the community obviously, but the players, this group of players felt that, although it's a strong word to use, but that we almost deserved another one with the efforts they put in. First one was definitely for the community and for the area, and you wanted to see past players and committees and members, they took the joy out of the first one, and certainly take joy out of this one. But I think this one, the sort of players felt we need another one for ourselves almost. We need another one to sort of cement ourselves as a good team, as a great team, rather than just a one-off, a fluke. So that's one of the reasons for the players. It was a big thing, but just to see the community come together after the game and the days and weeks after the game, and just a great atmosphere about, it's massive that way. Again, come back to the year that it was, I don't think there's been much joy in any club this year really. So the week leading up to the final, there was flags and bunting and signs, the place was blue and yellow, and just created a real good atmosphere about.
Niall, thanks for your time. Derry Gonley had been the kingpins in Fermanagh for the previous 5 years. They were going for 6 in a row this year, but Ederney stopped them. It was a massive result for Ederney because they had been battling for years to try and win the senior championship. Paul McCusker was one of the soldiers who'd been among many of those battles. So I've asked Paul to come on and talk about how he felt about the win and how they did it. So Paul, thanks for taking part. Thanks for coming on. How does it feel to be champions with Ederney?
Thanks for inviting on to the show, Ronan. Feels brilliant to finally be a county champion with Ederney. A lot of people have put in a lot of hard work over the years to get us to this position. Players, various management teams, our committee have put in serious effort, and anything we've ever asked, we've kind of got, and a lot of number of players, and including Mickey, the manager, was involved back in 2006 when Enniskillen Gaels beat us, And for so many people still to be involved 14 years later when we finally got over the line, you know, it was a great feeling, but it's a long time coming. It felt like a long time anyway for us.
I wonder, could you tell me how important was that county title for your club?
Hugely important for our club to win this county title this year. The club has made massive improvements off the pitch over the past number of years. We've fully floodlit training pitch, new pavilion, new stand, community gym set up, 2 new changing rooms, and our main pitch was just done up this year as well, so it was only sold out, so we'll have it hopefully up and running for next summer. So with all those improvements off the pitch, it was brilliant for us to get this title over the line this year, to have something to show for our efforts on the pitch as well, and it bodes well for the youth players coming through, you know, that they have them great facilities now, and hopefully it'll inspire them to go on and want to win a county title just like we have this year. So hopefully it'll keep us competing for county titles in the years going ahead.
Was there something that you did this year that made the difference?
To be honest, COVID probably helped us a lot this year. Our 4 county players were at training all the time, and our full focus was on club football. We have a lot of lads who live and work in Belfast and Dublin, and with the way their work was, a lot of them were working from home, so they actually moved back down to Ederney, which meant that we could, you know, get our group recovery sessions and gym sessions done in small groups the day after training our matches, you know, and things like that. Just built a massive team spirit. We were together so much throughout the week, and even the fact that the club games were all being streamed online, it meant that we could learn a lot about ourselves and even the opposition. I know Chris and Mickey done a serious amount of video work on that, and we learned a lot, especially in that championship block, and made massive improvements then on the pitch from what we'd learned on the video work, and that was a massive benefit for us, I'd say, and it was probably one of the big reasons why we finally got over the line this year.
It's been a few weeks now, but what are your memories of the final? Like, were there any key moments?
Thinking back now, the main memories from the final would have just been, you know, trying to stick to our game plan. You know, we know coming up against that Dunloy team, we're going for 6 in a row, that it was going to be a battle right to the end, no matter how we were going, if we were ahead or not, and we knew we had to perform and get our own game right, you know. So just throughout the game, we were always thinking, you know, we set ourselves targets for the 4 quarters, taking in the water breaks or whatever, and that was our main thoughts. Everybody, we talked about it all along, no matter what happens, just stick to the game plan and keep going. Key moments, probably the 3 goals. You know, the one they got, felt we didn't panic, you know, everybody kept their heads, and we ended up the field, I think, and we won our penalty shortly after that, and then Mark stuck it away and we got a point straight after. It was a big score, and that was to the first water break then, so we went in the lead, having probably trailed for most of that first quarter. And then the second quarter, Marty kicked a big point, and Chris came up and kicked 2 long range frees, give us a bit of breathing space, and we probably kept them at arm's length after that. So that was a few big scores there. And then later on, like the goal in the second half, Marty was involved again in the turnover, I think, and we kind of broke away, and Sean finished it off. And even in the our last score, like Mark McCauley back made a block on our own 21 near enough, and we broke up the pitch, and Ryan Marsh stuck it over. So those are all probably key moments, you know, throughout the game.
How did you feel at the final whistle?
The final whistle feeling was just unbelievable, you know. A bit of relief that we finally got over the line. You know, we felt we've been knocking on the door for a number of years now. Felt we played second fiddle to Slay back in 2013 and 14. I think they beat us in 2 semi-finals, and then Dunloy came along after that and we've won the last 5. They knocked us out a few times there, and you know, we felt we've been thereabouts for a number of years now, and just that feeling to finally get over the line, you know, and to share them moments with my 2 brothers and with boys I'm playing football with for over 20 years now, you know, going back to under 10s and even primary school, like. So it was just massive relief and just an unbelievable feeling to finally get over the line.
And finally, what does it mean now for yourself and for the club?
The win means so much to our club. I suppose a county title to any club does, but the amount of work that's gone in over the past 15, 20 years off the pitch, the committee have done everything they can to make our club one of the top clubs in Fermanagh, and I think we've finally got there now. And even people that maybe aren't involved as much now, former coaches and former committee members who served their time and have maybe moved on now, but even for all those people who are still big supporters of our club and members, for them to finally be fit to say that our club are Fermanagh County champions is an unbelievable feeling. And we just hope that it's not another 52 years before we're back at the top of Fermanagh club football. And we as a group of players will do everything in our power over the next number of years to make sure we're challenging and to try and retain our title next year even.
Paul, thanks for your time. Paul Shiels has been a hurler with Dunloy for many, many years, more than any other on the current senior team. And they beat Lochgiel recently in the final, and I wanted to ask him about how he felt about winning and what he thinks the future holds for this group of players and what it was like to beat the Shamrocks in the final. So thanks for coming on, Paul. Appreciate you taking the time. Congratulations on the win. You've won a few titles with Dunloy. Was this one different or was it special?
I would say this one was different because I don't think anybody will forget the 2020 championship. It was a very difficult start to the season, and we had no pre-season or no league games, so it was difficult to know where we were at as a squad. But it was nice knowing that all the Zoom sessions, all the runs, all the 5 and 10Ks were well worth it. So in that sense, it was different, and it's obviously always very special to win an Antrim championship because they're not easy to win, and it's normally a dogfight in Antrim, so nice to get over the line.
Okay, how has the team changed since you won your first?
I won my first championship in 2007, and from the team that won the last championship there, I'm the only surviving member from that starting team. There was a few boys on the panel, but it was nice at that time. I was the tail end of a great Dunloy team who had won, I think, 10 championships at that time. So I grew up watching them. It was nice to get on the pitch, play with them and win a championship. And it was kind of a mirror image then. Our younger players now are coming onto the panel, and I'm sort of coming to the tail end of my career. So it's nice to be able to share winning a championship with them and sort of hand it over the baton, and they know now how to win Antrim championships because it's never easy, and trying to make that breakthrough, if you've never won it before, trying to make the breakthrough can be difficult. So for the current team to do it early, there's an added bonus for them. But I think hurling in general has changed so much, even from when I won my first one, because back then it was very much 15 on 15. There was no sweepers or no third midfielders or any of that type of thing. It was just man on man, and try and win the higher percentage your 1v1 battles, and more often than not you come out with a victory. Whereas now there's more tactical, there's more playing it through the lines. So hurling, the style of hurling has changed. It's different, and it's just how you adapt to that and build a panel of players that can play to that style, because I don't see it going back to 15v15. There's always going to be coaches there that's trying to adapt and break down the system. So hurling's kind of moving like possession, and you can see with the top teams there, like in Limerick, they kind of perfected it there, and then you've got teams coming along trying to break it down. So it's interesting, but I'd say hurling over the next few years will probably just progress into more possession type type game.
Paul, what was the key game in this year's championship?
I'd say the key game for us was the second group game against Rossa. We had drawn the first game against Ballycastle, and even though we had chances at the very end to win the game, it felt like a defeat coming off the pitch. So the boys were a wee bit disappointed. We got them picked up through the week, and then heading to Rossa, it kind of felt like a knockout game. And it's obviously never an easy place to go. So the game was sort of nip and tuck, and just after the second half water break it was level, and Rossa I think scored 5 points maybe without reply, and we looked in real danger. And at that stage you think, we need something special here. So we never threw the towel in. We always believed that we could get the scores, and thankfully we did. We just kept plugging away. Rossa started to retreat into the shell a wee bit, and you could sense it on the pitch. And we got the scores, but the key was the way we got the scores in the very last, the equalising point. In the white heat of battle, Nicky McCaig got his head up, picked the pass, and Chris McMahon put it over the bar. So that was kind of a turning point in our championship, and that gave us just a wee bit of confidence that we're not going to be beat. We had a difficult game then against St John's, but we were starting to pick up a wee bit of momentum, and we won that on top of the group. So after the group stage, we ended up where we wanted to be. It wasn't a smooth sailing as some of the people had predicted, but we got where we wanted to be, and them group games, we got a whole lot out of them. I think it prepared us well then for the semi-final and final.
Did the final go to the plan?
From our point of view, the final very much went to plan. We had decided as a group the morning of the match that if we won the toss, we were going to play against the breeze. We felt that we had the players to contain Lockheed and play through the lines, and then the pace up front to carry the ball into the breeze. So thankfully we won the toss. We decided to play against it, and we had set ourselves a target of 1.5. Even though it was a substantial breeze, we wanted to 1.5, and we played really well. It was probably as good a half a hurling as we played all championship, and went in level. So we were delighted with the first half. We knew the breeze wasn't going to win you the game, so we just had to be cautious that there's no complacency set in. And in fairness to the boys, everybody was really well tuned in. We came out in the second half, we got a few early points, and we weathered the lucky storm and got the points, got a crucial goal in the second half to give us a wee bit of breathing space, and then we pushed on for home. We were disappointed to get in the 2 late goals, but lucky on a quality side, and they were never going to let us just run away with it. So, as regards to that, the final went as well as we could have hoped for, and we were over the moon. Beating Lockheed in the county final was a tough ask. A fantastic club, and it was a great rivalry to have, and we were just delighted to win.
What's next for yourself?
Dust down the golf clubs and get the swing back in action. But we've already had a few weeks off, so not take too long a break, get back in the gym. You don't want to wait around to Christmas, and then you have it all ahead of you next year. So I'll get back in the gym, try and stay in shape, reasonable shape up to Christmas, and then hopefully in the new year we'll get some sort of training. Hopefully we'll be allowed to train collectively, and all being well, we'll get back into pre-season and hopefully some sort of structure and normality.
I think I'll be doing the golfing more than the fitness myself. But just finally, how much more do you think this team could win?
That's always a difficult question to answer, but the squad is quite young. There's plenty of talent there, but when we meet up in January, our main goal will be to retain the interim championship, and we genuinely won't be looking past the first game of the championship. Interim championships are never easy won, and as you've seen this year, the championship was so competitive. It was a really good championship. All the teams, Ballycastle, Rossa, St John's, Lochgill, Cushendall, will all feel that they can win the championship, and we're no different. We feel that we can win it. So the next step for us is to try and retain the title and take it from there. What comes after that, we'll prepare for it if we get that far. But as I say, to win Antrim is a great achievement. So that's our main focus moving forward.
Paul, thanks for your time. So that's our show for this week. 3 stories from 3 champions of Ulster. Thank you for watching. You can watch more of these shows if you go online to our site or the NVTV site, and all the previous shows from this year are there, as well as some from last year too. If you like this content and you like to hear these stories, there's plenty more stories in the actual Gaelic Life. We're a digital edition online, and we have recently launched a new app as well, which you can get on the App Store and wherever you get your apps. So I encourage you to subscribe, and you can get these stories every week from Gaelic Life. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next episode.